Hey, Arvind, welcome to Voices of Endpoint. It's wonderful to have you here. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your journey before you joined Endpoint?
Thank you, Sri. It's great to be here. Thanks for your time. My journey has been very varied. I started my career in the financial services industries, and maybe about 10 years spent with software for banks. That was out of India, and then I was in Europe for extended periods of time implementing banking solutions across Citibanks and Citibank affiliates across Europe. At that time, my role was mostly technical, and so I have a solid grounding on technical aspects as well as implementation. Um, my transition over to the life sciences domain started in the mid 90s when I moved to the US and I started working for Hoffman LaRoche. At that time, it was still called Hoffman LaRoche, and it was renamed Roche later. And we were one of the earliest teams that actually used Oracle database software and started building out what eventually became Oracle Clinical. So I was part of the team that was the first users of Oracle Clinical from a CTMS and EDC standpoint, as well as usage of the database and all the other things that went into building the product eventually. From that, I moved to consulting organizations across several companies, but stayed close to technology, and primarily the domain was life sciences. In 2005, I joined Cognizant in the life sciences organization, and I was an account manager to start with, and then became a client partner that managed some of our largest relationships at that point in time. Before I decided to move back to India for a number of reasons, and spent about 7 years in India, and I moved and started my own company. So I also have I've had brief stints at entrepreneurship. We did something around data and made sure that we brought performance data to sports and sporting organizations so that we leverage that for driving sponsorships and driving turnstile revenues and driving broadcast positioning of the teams themselves. It was an interesting, very enriching experience from a understanding standpoint and how data is used in the real world in what is typically a non-commercial or non-enterprise way for sports teams, and did a lot of exploratory work in that area from a technology standpoint. Subsequent to that, the last 5 years I've been working with IQVIA, where I was part of their digital products organization, and I was responsible for about four products in the site and planning suite, right from site activation, enrollment, learning management systems. Large portion of it was spent on ETMF, which included both internal ETMF of the CRO itself and some external ETMF products. And then I finally was part of their AI programs as well, starting off the AI programs. I joined Endpoint earlier this year in the month of February as Vice President Operations and also managing our India center. So that's quickly the journey so far, Sri.
So, Arvind, great combination of technology and domain, and you're both in financial services and in life sciences. What attracts you to life sciences? The last 5 to 7 years you've been in life sciences. What is attractive about life sciences, and what do you like to do? What do you like to see there?
Oh, life sciences and healthcare and life sciences is definitely something I would say I stumbled along the way, but really then started taking a significant interest in. I mean, just the whole purpose-led way of doing work has always appealed to me. I remember when I was in Roche, as a young techie, uh, the person that actually invented many different products for Roche used to be hanging out. He was actually one of the scientists that initially put Valium into market and a bunch of other products for Roche that became that became blockbusters for Roche. And just the discussion around that on how we are bringing those therapies to the market meant we're not working on a somebody trying to fill a shopping cart or somebody trying to get to click on an advertisement. We're like doing a little more fundamental work that has an impact on the world. That is one definite draw, and it has grown over the years as I've stayed in life sciences. But the other aspect is also the technology. I think technology is a huge attractor for me, and we are able to leverage some of these technologies really to make breakthrough achievements in how we bring software to our customers and sponsors. So I think that is a big draw, a combination of technology and also being purpose led. I think that I would say are the two big draws from the life sciences standpoint.
Yeah. So, Arvind, let's explore that. So, you said you're passionate about technology in this environment. You've been here since February or almost a year or so. Tell us what kind of technology changes are you making? What is the potential of that for somebody like Endpoint?
Right. So I would frame that answer in like two or three different constructs, Sri. The one thing is we have seen waves of technology come. Today we are seeing people talk about AI in every little conversation. In my mind, I think the implementation basics or the fundamentals of technology haven't changed. We have to have strong understanding of the customer requirement and the customer motivation, not just the requirement, but what the customer hopes to achieve through that. We need to have a strong understanding of the domain, and we need to have that regulatory oversight. But we also need to have, more importantly, the ability to frame the product problem correctly, find the right solution, stick to it, and therefore implement it. Technology is not to be something that we build a POC on and then move on to the next one. It has to be valuable for the organization. It needs to make commercial sense. And but at the end of the day, it also needs to be a differentiator. And I think the differentiator will come because we should be passionate about solving that for our customers, not necessarily look at the endpoint, right? I am a big believer in that. If you want to do well in an exam, don't worry about the marks, but worry about how you're studying for that and what are you internalizing. If you want to build a great company, don't worry about your bottom line all the time, but build great products that you can sell, and therefore that drives you to that. So I think it's important for us not to just look at the result, but the process. And that process hasn't changed. So AI is today the flavor, and I think it's got really fundamental ways by which it can impact our business. But I think the process of making sure we have the right kind of people, the right domain expertise, and the right change management approach so that we can pull that together is a critical one. But that said, Sri, AI, in all honesty, is clearly a game changer. And I think the winners of the next, set of next few years are going to be people that fundamentally understand how we are going to be able to implement that in every facet of our businesses. And I think that is how we're going to be able to differentiate ourselves as a company.
So let's explore that a little bit, right? So you said AI is a fundamental disruptor and a differentiator. What is different with AI versus previous technologies? We had digital transformation, SMAC, which is social mobile analytics and cloud. Before that, we had digitalization. What is fundamentally different with this version of AI, and why do you think this is a seminal moment for people to, as you said, adopt the use of AI and to do that? So share some of your thoughts in this area.
So if I were to frame this, I think the earlier technologies that came were in some sense tools, right? In some sense, they were the hammers and the chisels and the spades that you have to work for you to get the kind of output you needed from that. Be that the internet, be that cloud computing, be that all the other digital transformations that have happened. They were tools. Some were more powerful than others. But at the end of the day, they worked under human oversight and guidance and direction to a large extent. The fundamental shift in AI today is they are truly companions, or they augment and amplify the human being in a way no tool before has been able to do, right? So in the whole business workflows where there are humans involved in the human workflow, I think AI will act truly as a companion. You could give it tasks that you do not know and expect to get reliable answers that you can implement in your role and in the business process and the problem you're trying to solve. Unlike tools of the past where you had to almost have a vision for what the outcome is, and you're using these tools to accelerate things or like improve quality, AI will actually fundamentally even show you what direction you need to be going to, which you might not have otherwise known. That is one important thing. And as AI starts to percolate even more and get more powerful, I think its implementability is also increasing. I mean, from the first versions of GPT to almost 2.5 years ago now, where it was just a chat bot, which did great work with text. Now it's understanding of data, it understanding of summation. I mean, it used to be very poor at actually numbers when it first came out, and the hallucinations were pretty large. That gap is completely narrowed now. So its understanding of numbers, its understanding of decision making is become so robust that we can now truly use them as companions to amplify our work rather than tools to accelerate our work.
So Arvind, the question most people ask is, hey, AI in our regulated environment like Endpoint with IRT, which is so critical, is that an easy one to solve? Is it not an easy one? How do you address that question, AI in regulated or clinical environment? Do we build it? If we do that, what do you do to give the confidence that what we're doing is going to be regulatorily sound?
It definitely is a challenging problem, Sri. It is not something that we can say, the concerns are not unfounded. It requires a deliberate understanding of the regulations. And I think even more fundamentally, I would frame it as we should not be doing some of these things just for regulatory purposes. We should be doing this because it's critical. Because when we bring therapies to patients and we bring medicines to patients, I think we should also keep in mind that what we do is got profound impact on people's lives, and therefore we look at it not just from a regulatory lens, but even from our own quality lens. I mean, will we allow medicines to be given to our family that have not completely gone through the quality process? And if you put on that lens, we are not looking at this just as a regulatory exercise, but something that says, yes, I know this is the output. I know I have validated this output 7 ways to Sunday. And I know that, I will stand by that and I will take that medicine. So that is the kind of rigor we need to put. How do we implement it? There are many technologies today. We can have multiple LLMs validate each other. We can have really knowledgeable humans in the loop, take a risk-based approach and see how exactly they verify the output in samples or real risk-based samples. We can also have back testing of a lot of the work that we do to confirm that it'll work well in a new environment. And there are now new technologies that are emerging where there are programs being written where you get an AI's output, and because you now know the answer, trace back the question in a non-AI fashion that makes it more deterministic. So there are a lot of tools and technologies that are emerging as we speak to validate that AI is 100% accurate. And wherever we are not able to get to that 100% accuracy, that portion is continuously reducing. And therefore, if you have human oversight on that portion, AI will still address a huge amount of work that we are doing otherwise manually.
Yeah. Arun, you seem to be doing a lot of exciting things in Endpoint with AI. Give us a snapshot of what areas you're going after and how you're going after that.
Yeah. Yeah, very exciting stuff we are doing, Sri, across the board. Specifically, if you look at it from the SDLC or the full life cycle of our business, our work starts when our customers give us a study to build in our IRT systems, be it in Velocity or Pulse, and we take it through all the stages of the SDLC. and then we put it on maintenance and make sure that it's usable by our customers the way they want it. We start right at the outset from the requirement standpoint, and we are now looking at the documents that are being given to us by different organizations, be it protocol documents or certain other supporting documents, and then we are seeing how we can take that to the requirements of our TSM through an AI process of understanding the structured data within the documents. So this is digitizing the protocol itself and making sure that we are getting it to an AI ready, a data ready platform, which can then be translated for downstream requirements. So that is at the outset of the SDLC. The next step is we take the requirements document now and then digitize it and use it for configuration. This is what we call doc to design, where we automatically take data from our requirements document and put that through a process by which we are extracting, cleaning, having a human verify it, and then updating our configuration directly. Saves us a huge amount of time, but most importantly, reduces the errors that creep in because you have a human being looking at a document and transcribing that on a system. The next area of our SDLC, we are looking at it from a assistance to coding standpoint, which is using GitHub Copilot and our own instructions, which we have written copiously, making sure that we cover every standard and generating code, verifying that, and making sure that we are also testing, not just testing the change, but also the regression around it so we can improve quality. And finally, in the testing cycle, we are again using document extraction, synthetic data generation, and test case generation to make sure that our automation testing is complete and again leads to much better quality and improved speed. Now, this is in the straight build SDLC. On the run SDLC, we are on the maintenance side doing a bunch of things using AI, which includes using bots to understand our customer problems, trying to move to more to self-service and faster service. So our customer requirements are addressed much better and in a more streamlined fashion. We're also putting some technologies in triaging, so our calls get routed to the right tech. And we're also trying to see if we can have a system where we surface everything related to a problem once it gets to a tech, so that the tech has everything at their fingertips to address the problem rather than run around and look at too many things. Some of these are actually, as you know, in flight. We're still not fully completed the exercises, but these are some of the broad spectrum of things that we are going after in each of these dimensions.
So Arvind, you are somebody who's learned AI and experimented and worked on it. Oh, what is your guidance to somebody who's part of Endpoint? How do I get down the AI journey? Where do I start? What do I do? Do I come to you? Do I do something myself? How does one start in the AI journey? What are some best practices you think you can give advice to which people can start their journey?
Uh, Great question, Sri. I will split this into two sets of people. People that are naturally technical and they work in some of the technical aspects of Endpoint's business. And for them, I think they are probably already seeing how AI is creeping into their work, or that it's imminent, right? Across the board, be it in any of our products and in any of the functions, they have probably got it. They've heard it from their management, and for them, the right thing to do is to align with the programs that are going on. And so it could be, not just necessarily coming to me, but every single group has a manager, and I think we have pretty much socialized how we are using AI in those functions in every single aspect. So for the technology folks, it is an easier understanding of where to go. This question is more also relevant for some of our non-technology people, and this is something that I speak to my team in India all the time about, which is to say, look, this AI is truly liberated the non-technical user and given them the tools that otherwise was only in the hands of the technology folks. In the earlier world, you needed to put a nice graph together. You need to have a visualization of the data. You needed to have some analysis of something, and you had to go to a programmer. Today, you do not need to do that. Today, there are tools available in the chat GPT interface that will allow you to do all of this. You just need to be brave. You just need to take time to experiment. And that will really bridge the gap in terms of knowledge between, those that are, tech savvy and those that have not had that opportunity. And now I see AI truly as something that would take the power away from the programmer and democratize it. So, people with just the curiosity and the understanding can have the answers the way they want it. So I would say, I mean, across endpoint, thanks to your initiatives and all the other initiators, people are getting a lot of understanding of where we are on AI. But I would say even if you're not technical, ChatGPT is a fairly friendly interface, and there are enough examples if you just go online to say, let's say you have a data set and you want to figure out, how to analyze it and go back and talk to your customer if you are like in the customer service field. Let's say you're a solution architect, you can quickly go and get a nice visualization of the solution using AI. If you're somebody that is in the sales track, it's very easy for you to get a good understanding of what competition is doing, enough to give you a good conversation starter and putting your own in a customer conversation. So all of these scenarios today, it's become much easier because Copilot is there, and we have provided Copilot to all of our users. So I think it's for everybody to internally make sure that they are following this, because I think it's critical for their careers and their roles going forward.
Arvind, what you're saying is, hey, start experimenting. You have the power of the tool in your hand. Continue to work and experiment. And the only way you can learn is when you experiment, you learn from it, and then follow up and feedback. Let me pivot a little bit, Arvind. What do you do outside of work? What's fun for Arvind?
So Sri, more recently I've started learning music, and I continue to dabble on that. That is something that keeps me going. As I want to stave off all the effects of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's as I get older. So they say you either learn a language or learn an instrument. So I've taken an interesting instrument called GeoShred, which is actually an app on the iPad, and I have started playing music in it. I have a personal goal of, watching a cricket match in every stadium in the world that, of some stature, let's say. And so, that is something that is got a long time ahead for me because, it's a really large list. And so maybe that is the other thing that I will do. So travel, music. Um, but I definitely want to be also looking at giving back more from an education standpoint. So at some point in time, I would like maybe have the role of a teacher in a local school or maybe online. That is something that I've been thinking more recently. So those are the things that I would try to go do going forward.
Wonderful. Arvind, as you start to bring people into this fold of AI and technology, what kind of skill sets in the people do you look for, and how do you identify them to be a part of your team?
Um, it has changed a lot, Sri, honestly. So I don't know if I have all the right answers just now, but I definitely can say it has changed. What was initially more look for technology skills as the was the basis. I think it's now more curiosity, more ability to stand, think on their feet, and look for alternate solutions. I mean, some great examples that I can think of are people that they were just curious and wanted to explore, and came with the basics and understanding. So I'm no longer tied down to hiring people of a particular skill. I want to hire people of a particular attitude and aptitude that I can assess, and it is a work in progress. I think when we put our business hat and we have immediate requirements in a certain skill or area, that's what we go towards. But how do I identify the people that are some of some of my top performers who did not necessarily come up with had the background, but they caught on to it once we started working on it. That is the thing that I'm looking at. I'm looking at generalists more than specialists. In fact, I just passed by somewhere where there was in a bookstore. I didn't pick it up because I didn't have the time. Where it said how generalists are winners more in a highly specialized world, and it's probably something that I want to read when I get a chance. So yeah, my perception on who to hire is also changing as AI is started to liberate some of the more technical roles into a more generic domain.
Yeah. And Arvind, our different values. Is there any particular values which appeal to you more than others as a part of our value ecosystem?
I mean, every one of them, but innovation primarily is something that I will hone in on if I have to do that. Because I think at the end of the day, that is what is going to set us apart. I mean, obviously, all of our endpoint values are critical and thoughtful, but I think we should lead. If we have to lead in the world going forward, I think innovation will be critical.
Now, Arvind, this has been a wonderful dialogue. Thank you so much for being at Voices of Endpoint. You really shared a journey of how domain and technology needs to come together. The passion for AI, specifically now, where you will have to experiment and try things out so that you can continue that journey. That generalist, resilient experimentation skill set, key part of what the future is. And finally, as we look forward, there's quite a bit of things to be done, but innovation leading the front. So thank you again. Thank you for being at Endpoint, and thank you for all the innovations you're giving us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Sri. Thanks for your time and thanks for everything you do for Endpoint. And looking forward to doing this more and more and really getting us up there in terms of an organization that's truly valuable.